Ho ho ho. Welcome to the Immigrant Programmers channel. My name is Kritika and we wish you a very Merry Christmas. So the other day I was surfing the internet and I came across a very interesting, yet I'd like to say a little bit controversial article. So I thought, why not create a video on it? Because I'd love to hear different opinions on this particular issue. So today I will be reacting to I've had to relearn coding to get through the new interviews, written by a person referring to himself as Thomas Jackson, which is an alias, on the 2nd of December 2020, which is pretty recent. Okay, so let's see what's the deal here. I'm not a graduate looking for a first job. I've spent 15 years working as a developer and a strategist at leading investment banks, and I'm looking for a new role. And wait for it, it's a nightmare. So when I first read this article, I thought to myself that calling the job hunting process a nightmare might be a little too exaggerating. But of course, we don't know the whole story yet. So let's find out. In the past few years, companies hiring developers have espoused all manner of testing processes as a way of covering their backs before making recruitment decisions. It's not enough that someone has a proven track record. They also need to complete a HackerRank test or something similar. It's true. Yeah, there's HackerRank, that's the most popular one. But then there is Hacker Earth, Lead Code, and there's many platforms that are present to practice for these coding interviews as well. For example, Geeks for Geeks, Code Chef, blah blah blah. There's so many of them. Okay, so let's read further. This has become common in banking, but tech firms are at it too. Facebook has a 45-minute on-the-spot technical video interview instead of an actual coding test for their potential hires. Well, tech firms are no less. I don't know where this person have been since the last 10 years or so, but Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Apple, and all these tech giants have been conducting these coding tests and intensive interviews for a long while now. And it's not only true for experienced professionals, it's the same for recent graduates as well. In fact, one of my friends recently got into Amazon just this last year after having cleared 6 rounds of interviews. Six! I mean, that's insane. And if you think that's insane too, wait for the icing on the cake. In one of his final rounds, he was asked to come down to Vancouver for an on site interview, which lasted for 6 hours. Yes, he was asked to code for 6 straight hours and explain his solutions and then optimize his previous solutions and so on and so forth. I've therefore spent the past few months revising how to code in Python, C++, and SQL. I've learned C Sharp and .NET from scratch and I've revisited college mathematics. My technical skills were already very strong, now they are considerably stronger. Well, what can I say? Good for him. All of this, however, takes time and I'm not convinced that it's time well spent. All I have done is to learn how to solve a certain set of problems. If you stay on HackerRank for long enough, the same ones keep coming up. With luck, this will get me a job, but if I'm hired on this basis, I feel it will be for the wrong reasons. Well, yes, I can agree to that to a great extent, because only a few companies understand that a good developer isn't only about creating strong algorithms and incessantly improving their code to come to an optimal solution. Speaking from personal experience, most of the time you don't even end up using the stuff you learned for cracking the interviews once you actually get the job. In the past, when I was interviewing myself, I would come across large numbers of really smart candidates all the time. Well, this guy has been an interviewer himself. A shout out to this person. He's literally coming out of his comfort zone trying to switch jobs once he has been an interviewer. Wow. Okay. And he's trying to learn coding again. Oh my god, exceptional. Okay, so let's move forward. Once in a while, though, I'd find someone exceptional who could approach problems differently, and those people who would always turn out to be the best hires, they would have been filtered out by these systems. Yes, it's true. I definitely like his viewpoint here. I think, given that this person has been an interviewer himself, he understands how different people can have different styles to approach the same problem. And if you create a system and expect people to follow this particular framework, there is a high possibility that you might lose some people who have the audacity to think out of the box. My technical skills have definitely sharpened up by practicing HackerRank style questions, but I believe the companies using these tests are creating a bias in favor of candidates who A. Have time to practice. I agree. That's a good point. It requires a lot of time and efforts. And B, who've recently graduated and are familiar with the format. Well, that's not entirely true because being a recent graduate, I know that this is not something that you learn in school on a daily basis. Our schools, they're more theoretical. And to practice these kinds of questions, we need to go to the online platforms I just mentioned, the Lead Code, Hacker and Hacker Earth and stuff. So even we have to give it a lot of time and efforts and strengthen our concepts and practice algorithm questions. But the good thing is, when you're a recent graduate and your whole purpose of life is to find a job, then time is one resource that you have in abundance. So that was the only plus. But even for a recent graduate, I think it's tricky. You have to familiarize yourself with the kinds of questions. So yeah, it would take a lot of efforts. It's very hard to prepare for these tests if you're working full time and have a young family. It's also an opportunity to excuse ageism. In an assessment the other day, I was asked to quote something that I hadn't covered for 30 years. If I'd had the opportunity to read up on it, I would have been fine. Well, yes, I can understand that, but I am someone who's experienced this so far, so it wouldn't make much sense if I would say too much about it. But then again, I'm entitled to my opinion, and this is my video, and I can do whatever I want to do. And what I want to do is to ask you to smash that like button. Alright, so with that out of the way, I can only imagine how hard it would be for this person to maintain a work life balance right now with the kids and a family, and then you have to devote time to learn new concepts and the grit and gumption it requires. So, a big round of applause for this person right now. People are benefiting from these tests as well. To succeed in the testing process, you need to code defensively against edge case problems. First, you have to figure out how to solve the problem, and then you need to get a working solution. But to get the very best result, your solution needs to execute efficiently and to produce the right answer in all edge cases. Example, empty parameters, repeated or negative numbers, massive sets of data. They generally have hidden tests that they will run to check this. The tests are therefore all about excluding candidates rather than identifying brilliant young mavericks with potential. Exactly now, this part I can totally relate to. But it's really funny how he has described the situation. It sounds so traumatic, like someone's hunting you down and making you watch the Twilight Saga repeatedly until your eyes bleed. Well, I know, that's a little over exaggerating on my part here. But the point here is that I've actually been there, and these tests could be quite stressful sometimes. And I know that most of you have already been through the same issue, and the kind of pressure that it puts on you can be intense. It would be nice if the tests were scraped. This is unlikely to happen. For the moment, the inexperience seems to count for nothing. It's all about how much time you can spend on lead code. Well, sadly, that was the case for him. Well, all in all, I like this article. I think some really good points were made and some harsh realities were highlighted. But truth be told, I didn't like how at the end this person wished that these tests were completely abolished. If something isn't right, we should make amendments to it instead of getting rid of it altogether. At least that's my view. So, a suggestion over the top of my mind is that the question types could be changed to introduce more IQ based questions so that the interviewee don't have to spend more time learning new concepts that they'll probably never use. Well, I think there's always room for improvement. But what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Let me know if you agree to the current interview pattern or do you have something in mind that you want to change. Also, let me know how you like this video by smashing that like button and leaving your thoughts down in the comment section. So that's a wrap. Thank you so much for your time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. And if you like our content, share it with your friends and family. Because you know, sharing is caring. Happy holidays. Bye bye.